according to the sum total of the scientific literature, there is no safe or healthy amount of alcohol that a human being can consume. And a lot of people don't like to hear that. They hear that like, well, I saw this one study that showed this one little group of people, if they drank wine, they had this health benefit due to the polyphenols. And my response to that would be, but it's not the wine that did it, it's the grapes. And if you wanted those same polyphenols, you could eat some grapes. It would cost less, and you wouldn't get all the negative effects that come from the wine also. So again, to me, that's a ludicrous argument, right? Because the polyphenols were already there before the grapes were fermented. So you see how silly that is? It's like, it would be the same thing of, well, there's these benefits from eating potatoes. They're one of the healthiest foods when we start looking at the research. So you're going to drink vodka. Come on. Just stop. And again, when you look at the overall data, even wine in general, small amounts of wine doesn't seem to have an overall net health benefit. And this is what people forget. You'll see the flexible dieters and other people, and this is setting aside the sum total human suffering. This is setting aside the addiction. This is setting aside the violence, setting aside all these other problems, the accidents. I've personally lost people to drunk drivers. Okay, so all of that is when we're talking about these other issues, and when you bring this up, people say, well, that's only abuse. I can control my drinking, but you're still hurting yourself. Yes, the abuse is horrific. I personally choose to abstain. I have not had a drink in over 4 years at this point. But when we're talking purely about the health side, let's set aside all the mental clarity, the addiction, because I did a lot of really stupid stuff when I drank, and I could even say that pretty much any of the videos that people didn't like that I made, that they hold against me, I made while being a heavy drinker. I was drinking fairly heavy at that time. So from that context, I would say, isn't that evidence enough that it's a problem? All right, that it impairs judgment? I mean, I could be used as a perfect example. And no one ever brings that up. I mention that oftentimes, well, when I made those few videos that people get really upset and angry about, I'd been drinking. But no one ever brings that up. It's just, oh, we were mad at you for whatever you did 9 years ago. Yeah, I said some stupid stuff. And again, that really should be used as an example of, hey, this is a good reason not to drink, people. But let's set all that aside. Let's talk about the health consequences, because that's really what this should be about. It's a toxin. Alcohol is, in terms of toxicity, the most poisonous thing that humans consume on a regular basis, right? That you can buy in the grocery store. And people forget that. That's an interesting thing. You'll look at people who get really upset at, oh, there could be GMO in here, there could be whatever, these, they're concerned with rancid seed oils, they're concerned with pesticides. And I'm going to be perfectly clear, if you drink alcohol, even in moderation meaning 1 drink per week, I'll cut that down and say 1 drink per month. You have 1 alcoholic drink per month. You shouldn't even be worried about pesticides. There's the amount of pesticides found in food that the FDA allows to be in food in America. Your total negative load on the liver, because again, this is what we're talking about with poisons in general. The liver's ability to filter it out so it doesn't hurt you. That 1 drink a month is still going to exceed the toxicity of all the possible pesticides you could possibly be consuming in your food. Yet people want to make a big deal and whole campaigns and upset about pesticides. Well, they're necessary. Okay? We can't feed the population without them at this point. That's why they try to make the safest ones possible. They re-engineer them. But One drink per month will exceed that, so why are you worried about that? Why aren't the same people who worry about all this nonsense out campaigning against alcohol? I've seen people who campaign against this nonsense. You look on their social media, they got drinks. Are you crazy? I mean, how absurd. How absurd. Because that one drink a month is way, way more harmful to your health than those pesticides in terms of total poison to your body. But again, people don't think about that because it's a socially acceptable poison. But when we look at the data, it is a poison. It is literally a poison. Your liver has to process it or you would die. And we need to be clear on that. When people are drinking alcohol, do they not understand if you drink even a moderate amount of alcohol and you did not have a liver to clear it out, it would poison you. And the effects on the liver are pretty profound. Right? What all do we see even from moderate drinking? It can raise blood pressure. It's poisonous to the liver. Poisonous to a lot of your cells because the liver doesn't. A lot if it gets to some of those cells before the liver gets it. Okay. Contributes to cardiovascular disease. All of the obesity, fatty liver, and when we get fatty liver, what happens? Insulin resistance. I mean, what are the things that kill Americans? We talk about dietary fat being the big issue here because it is, but alcohol. Way up there, though, if we start counting it as a real food. What gets us? Cardiovascular disease, number one killer, then cancer, then diabetes. That's your top three killers. That's like over 90 to 95% of all deaths in the Western world. Everything else, malpractice, accidents, homicides, other diseases are all less than, they're like 10%. All of that added up. Alcohol contributes to all of them heavily. Right? Even the diabetes, because if you get fatty liver from drinking alcohol, you're contributing to the load on it because other foods are causing it too. Well, that's how you end up with diabetes. Right? Type 2 diabetes, it's an enormous contributor. Fatty liver disease, insulin resistance. But here's the thing. When you look at the data that WHO and other people have, their official stance is that there is no amount of alcohol you can consume that's healthy, that one drink technically can have a measurable negative effect on your health. One drink a week. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.